Hello everybody, welcome back to GG Files. Today, we're diving deep into the story of Welcome to Kowloon, an indie survival horror game that left players trapped, claustrophobic, and depressed. From its tight, eerie environments to its hidden lore, let's unravel what really happened. The game is called Welcome to Kowloon. It came out on Steam on August 1st, 2023. It was developed by 4 developers: Aleska, No Text, N4B4, and Admia. Let's dive into the story and take a closer look at why it unfolds the way it does. The game takes place in the city of Kowloon in China. This is where poverty and gang violence flourished. You play as a young student with a desire to find cheap housing. This is what leads our character to the city of poverty. The main goal of our protagonist is just to find a safe, cheap place to live. Right at the start, the game starts to give feelings of being trapped. The first door you go into to enter the walled city of Kowloon is an iron door with metal bars. It's almost like you're walking into a jail. The player enters Kowloon and walks down a tight hallway-esque street. Everything is rusty and dirty. There are clothes hanging from dry racks out in the middle of the street. Eventually you find the entrance to your building where your apartment is. Inside, the walls are gross and graffiti is scribbled on the hallways, and there is trash everywhere making the place stink. On the next floor is where you find your apartment. You don't initially meet your landlord. Instead, there's a note on the door telling you where to find the key. After finding it and unlocking the door, the inside of the apartment was tight and it had bugs flying around. It felt damp. I want to point out that the bathroom layout was actually really cool, and I'm jealous. The elevated toilet is a very unique choice. Your room was a little tight, but it had everything you need: a bed, a closet, and some shelves. After making some tea in the kitchen, you head back to your room where you find a note. The note reads, "I'm scared. I want to go home. The old woman is crazy. I haven't even been able to go outside for a long time." After finding that note, you go double check the front door. It already has a lock on it, locking you in. This is when the unsettling feeling of being trapped starts to settle in. You notice the landlady's door slams shut as you turn around. When you knock, you get no response. A note slides into the landlady's door. It reads, "Don't you dare go out at night." You realize that this woman is crazy, and you try to find a way out frantically. As you look for a way to leave, you walk into the bathroom, and there you see body parts hanging from the ceiling and dismembered limbs littered around the bathroom. As you leave the bathroom, you see the old woman with a terrifying look on her face as she screams and points at you. It's now time to get out of this place. You are not safe anymore. You never were. After getting knocked out by the old lady, you wake up to find the back door unlocked, and you're able to enter the apartment next door. At first, this game starts unsettling, and it gives off a creepy vibe, the same feeling you would get if you walked down an alley in a city late at night. Sure, there are streetlights, but everything feels dirty, like at any time someone will walk around the alley corner and chase you. And this is exactly the feeling that the game wants to lean into when the player enters the house and finds the door locked. It's your first fears come true. This apartment is very quiet. All of the windows were boarded up. There was a note on the dresser reading, "Things have been weird in town lately. I feel like I'm in danger here. I have to finish the renovations and move out soon." It looks as though another person was sensing the danger in Kowloon growing. Around this apartment, you can hear knocks and quiet footsteps, and doors would randomly close and open, but you can't seem to find anyone else here. The place is dimly lit, but you find a flashlight in one of the back closets. After solving a small puzzle, you're able to find the combination to a lock that's on one of the doors. This leads you into an eerie, empty room. The only thing in the room is a chair and a crowbar. You grab the crowbar and use it to pry the boards barricading the front door and escape. This apartment was definitely haunted. Everything about that apartment gave off the eerie vibe of ghosts, spirits, and a family who went through crisis. After leaving that apartment, you're faced with a tight, cramped hallway. Walking down the hallway, a naked man comes running towards you. You run away, but he chases you, and the hallways twist and turn until eventually you lose him and get away. After the chase, you see another man watching you. These men both look disfigured, and their skin is very veiny and discolored. When you turn and finally escape this what seems to be an endless hallway, a man comes flying through the door and knocks you out. The apartment really gives you a supernatural vibe, especially with all the creaks and noises and all the doors randomly opening and closing. And when you finally escape the apartment, your fear of all these things being behind you or chasing you becomes a reality. you instantly see a man hurtling down the hallway straight towards you. The game has a way of setting up worst case scenarios and following through with them after the build-up. You wake up outside on the concrete, still trapped in the city, but not stuck in a tight hallway. This is more like a tight alleyway. You walk forward to find an exit, but it is chained up. While looking around the city, you find a generator, but it needs fuel to turn on. This might hopefully power the exit door. While you explore the city, you can feel people watching you. No one is acting yet, but people are aware of you and they're keeping an eye on you. You find a note reading that the elevator needs power to work, but you must fix the generator first. While looking for a way to fix the generator, you find a children's note. It reads, "Let me show you something. Look under the rock by the swing set." Above the swing set is a person on their balcony watching you, giving you a very eerie feeling. As you go explore the playground, you look under the rock, and it's another note, and it tells you to look in a red refrigerator. The note in the red refrigerator told you to look behind a pine cloth in the yard, and you do as it's told. You look behind the pine cloth, and you find an area that looks like a child's secret hideout. There's a note in a shoebox in the middle of the room, and it says, "I was hiding here from all the horror that started happening with my family and the whole city. It is a good thing that there's not a single living soul left in Kowloon." This message is cryptic. If there are no living souls left in Kowloon, then what's been chasing you this entire time? Inside that same shoebox you find a coin. You take that coin and you use it on a vending machine near the exit. From the vending machine drops a lever needed for the generator. And the gasoline needed for the generator is in a room near you, up some stairs. After getting the generator back up and running, you head to the elevator, which takes you to the roof. Delightful music is playing, which gives a calming, safe atmosphere. Here, you find a pair of bolt cutters. It is maybe the one place you've felt safe this whole time you're in Kowloon. With the bolt cutters in possession, you make your way back to the exit door and use them to break the chains and open the exit door. As you are leaving the city, you see tons of people in their rooms and bodies hanging from nooses. These people don't look normal though. There's something off about them. They all look like they're decaying, like they're undead, like something is going on, like all these people were stuck in the city, left to die. You make it out and run over to your car and speed away. As the camera pans over the city, it's not a city anymore, but the ruins of a city once known as Kowloon. The last scene in the game is of you watching a news broadcast, talking about how Kowloon was demolished 5 years ago, and it was one of the worst cities in China. From your perspective, it looks like you're hanging from the ceiling while watching this broadcast. As you hang and watch this broadcast, the game ends with one final vision of the old landlord lady screaming at you. The ending is ambiguous but grim. The city you escaped was a haunted echo of the real Kowloon Walled City. In reality, Kowloon Walled City was a lawless, dense slum that was torn down in 1993 to 1994. The game's narrative implies you were trapped in some kind of purgatory, and that the spirits of Kowloon's victims, including the landlady and the dog, ultimately prevail. In the final moments, your character's fate is left unclear, but the cutscene of you hanging suggests that you have become one of those trapped souls, and seeing the old woman at the end scream at you means she's there to ferry you back to the Kowloon she knows. Welcome to Kowloon plays on the real history of the Kowloon Walled City. This enclave was notorious for being extremely overcrowded and having virtually no police or government control. By the 1990s, it had become infamous for crime, and authorities eventually demolished it. The game taps into the grim reality with its setting. It shows how desperate housing shortages drove people into dangerous conditions. Themes of urban decay, powerlessness, and the horrors of neglect are evident in the decaying bodies and haunted neighborhoods you encounter. The historical Kowloon context is clear from the game's setting. This game is set in 1999, but the demolishment of Kowloon was 1994. We can assume that this whole game took place in a sort of purgatory of what Kowloon once was. Welcome to Kowloon is a short but intense horror experience. It conveys a powerful sense of claustrophobia and dread in every cramped hallway and room. By the end, you understand that the entire city was a nightmare, both in-game and historically. Kowloon Walled City was indeed one of the most infamous slums in Chinese history, and its legacy of overcrowding and lawlessness is the backdrop here. Thank you for watching this deep dive into Welcome to Kowloon. If you enjoyed this explanation, stay tuned for more.